I served from August of 2014 to August of 2016. And I served in, my first area was in West Valley City. So West Valley is like most cities in Utah. You've got LDS members everywhere. They're just everywhere. They're on every street corner. There's a church building on every street corner. There's church buildings and church buildings parking lots. And it's just lots and lots of people. And so I served in West Valley for quite some time. And then I ended up getting sent out to the Tooele Valley. I was in Stansbury Park and Lake Point. And I loved it. So once I was sent out to Tooele, in that time, just right before that, my mission had changed. So like I had said before, it was just West Valley City and Magna. But in July of 2015, our mission changed, and it took in some of the Salt Lake City South mission. It took in some of the Salt Lake City Central mission, took in some of the Salt Lake City mission. And interesting fact about the mission, it was the largest mission boundary change in the history of the church. And so we went from covering West Valley City, which was just West Valley City and Magna, which was 2 miles by 10 miles, to an area that went all the way out to Wendover into Nevada, and then all the way down to a little bit south of, South Salt Lake Valley. So like Copperton was the farthest south that we go, and that was another area I had served in. So I ended up going out to Tooele for a little bit. I got transferred out into West Jordan, and I was in West Jordan for a little bit as well, along with Copperton. I had covered them both. And then went out back to West Valley. And I was in West Valley for the majority of my mission. And I love West Valley. I love that area a lot. So that was the mission boundaries. You went a little bit farther and then Redwood Road, which was kind of like the middle of the Salt Lake Valley, all the way out to Wendover, north to the Salt Lake, and then south, just a little bit south of the Salt Lake Valley. And we got to experience a big mission. And so when in my first mission, where it was just West Valley and Magna, it was just, we would only cover like 2 or 3 wards, which most missions you only cover 1 ward, but depending on the mission, especially in Salt Lake, where the areas are a little bit smaller, I only covered 2 wards in the area. But as soon as the mission split, I was covering a whole stake, as well as when I was in West Jordan, I was covering 2 stakes. So I had 15, 16 wards that my companion and I had to cover. And whereas it's not a big area, it's a lot of meetings. You're going to ward council, you're going to sacrament meeting, you're going to ward council after church. So not only are you waking up at 6 o'clock to go to a ward council meeting at 7, you're going to church until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You got dinner at 5, which is what the time we usually ate at, and then you're out proselyting for the rest of the day. And so it was a lot of work, but it kept us busy, and that is really good because of the fact that we had so much area to go to. We had so much responsibility, which was awesome, knowing that the Lord trusted us on having that responsibility and covering so much area. And so, again, Salt Lake and Utah itself is a little bit different environment because a lot of people know Utah as the Mormon state or Salt Lake City as the Mormon city. And so whereas if you were to go to Florida, you're covering one ward, and you're just not meeting a whole lot of members. The member density, I guess, is a lot less. And so you come to Salt Lake, and almost every door you knocked on was a member. And we knew that was one of the challenges we were going to face. Okay, not necessarily a challenge, but how are we going to find new people to teach if they're all members? And so it was very important for us to work with the area, and so we worked with a lot of less actives, and depending on the area that we were in, so West Valley, my companion and I mostly dealt with less active people, But as soon as we got out to like the newer areas out in Stansbury Park and Tooele and West Jordan, that was more so new people. Those were more so investigators than anything. And you know, a lot of people will ask you, how many baptisms did you have? Doesn't matter about the baptisms. What matters is the fact that you work hard and you're bringing people back. And that was the big thing. And so one of the great things that we had the opportunity to do in my mission was use Temple Square as a resource. So our mission president had brought up a statistic saying that 80% of investigators / less actives who go to Temple Square while being taught by the missionaries are 80% more likely to be baptized or to be reactivated. And so Temple Square was such a wonderful tool. You have, the Salt Lake Temple, you have all the visitor centers, you have videos, you have the conference center. It's a wonderful, wonderful spirit down there in Temple Square, and it's incredible. It's an incredible source to use because not only is the spirit so thick, but the history is so thick, and it just makes people want to learn more. It answers so many people's questions, and it was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for us. And you know, Utah, everyone knows who you are. Non-member, member, less active. Everyone knows who the missionaries are. You see them walking, it's the elders. You walk into a store, it's the elders. And it was a blessing knowing that people knew who we were because they knew our purpose. And our purpose was to help them. And it was really, really cool to see that. And so one of the things that I learned because of the fact that we had all these resources was not to take the church for granted. So no matter how big my mission was, we did not have one temple in my mission. So all the temples were outside of my mission, but we were allowed to go to the temples in the Salt Lake Valley. And we even went up to the Bountiful Temple a couple of times. And so we used the temple for not only investigators, but also less actives. We would take them to the temple grounds, talk to them, let them feel the spirit of the temple, and letting them know that that's what they could have if they do the things that we ask them, and if they do the things that the Lord asked them. And it was a wonderful blessing having so many temples in our area, having so many opportunities to have people feel the spirit and know that this is the potential that God wants them to have.